Today we'll be working on a line trace. So last video we opened the door using a trigger volume. But what I don't like about the trigger volume is that when you're facing away, you can still work the door, which doesn't make sense in a first-person shooter. It should be when you interact with it touching the door, then the door opens. And this is what we're going to be building today. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, let's get started. So first thing we're going to need is a blueprint interface. So you're going to get the blueprint interface over here. We're going to create it, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about it, okay? I'm going to call it on interact. Enter. Double click on it. And same thing over here, we're going to call it on interact. We're going to name the function on interact. Compile, save, and that's it. You're done with this one, okay? So what the blueprint interface does is it creates a bridge between, it's like a communication bridge between your main character and or anything else. It could be like, yeah, actually it's with the main character most of the time that you use this. It could be your character getting damage or an item getting damage. Like let's say you had, I don't know, a box that needs to have a special event that fires whenever you touch it. Well, then you would use a blueprint interface to have that link between the two that makes it happen. So right now we're going to use the blueprint interface to have a line trace that fires off from the main character to the door to get the door to open. All right. So right now we already created it. So let's go inside the door, and we're going to add a few things to this scribble here. So first thing, when you want the link to be established, you're going to go inside class setting, and you see over here it says implement an interface. There's no interface right now, so you're going to add the one we just created, which is on interact. Now you won't see it in the listing if you didn't compile and save your work before getting inside your blueprint. And when you add it, make sure you compile again and save, or else when you right click over here, and let's say I write on interact, I wouldn't see the event on interact. I'd be only able to call it, which won't work because you need the interface to be implemented. So we're going to need the event on interact. So what does the event on interact means is as soon as you interact with the door, what do I want it to happen? I want the door to open, okay? But we're going to put something in between because right now our program has two functions. So we're going to create a new variable. I'm going to call it procedure. And we're going to put this one, let's put it into a byte. A byte variable is something that takes a small value, but it has to be a hard number. It won't take like 1.5. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. But never in the AFS measure, or you get the point. And we're going to make this editable again. Compile, save. Since we have two, that's what's nice with blueprints. You can give it as many function as you want. Right now we add the event that would only fires when the E key is pressed while you're inside a trigger volume. But now we're going to add the event on interact. So we need something to check first which function you want us to fire. So what we're going to do over here, we're going to drag the procedure and get it. Get the value equal to 0. And you're going to branch it over here. And that's simple. Now you just created a checkpoint that's going to check if it's the right procedure. And I just gave it the procedure 0 to be this over here. And over here, we're going to drag this again out, get, and we're going to do equal, and we're going to put it to 1. And branch it like that. Now how does the program knows which procedure to fire? That's where editable comes in handy. Now that I check this over here, when I come out, let's say I have a blueprint inside my level, you're going to see the default values over here that you can edit before getting inside the level. So you have over here the procedure. So if I would choose to put 1 over here, then it would use the interface. And if I go inside the level right now, nothing is going to happen because I didn't even set up the line trace yet. So get out of here. We're going to put this back to 0. And let's create our line trace because now everything is set up for it. Get inside the first person player. We're going to create a function over here and call it trace item. The reason I always want to put my functions on the side instead of having them all in the event graph is because if you start scripting everything, and you can, but it's going to get crowded pretty much. If I have a program over here and I have one over here and I want to have over here, one here over here, it's going to get pretty crowded, and you're going to need all these little comments to always know what you're doing. So to make it easier, just try to make them into functions. Sometimes you won't be able to use functions, so that's why you're going to put them in here. But for the line trace, it works perfectly on a function node. So double click here and let's build our line trace. So drag this out and click line trace by channel. So as you see over here, there's a start, there's an end, and so on. You're going to use those over here. So you want the line trace to be fired from the main camera. Unless you want, unless if you were working on your gun and you wanted it to fire from your gun, not your camera. But right now we want to have that like, view perspectives, so like if it was you that was interacting with the object. So let's use the camera. So go back into trace item and grab the camera, print it out, and we're gonna get world location. And this is going to be the starting value. And then we're going to get the forward vector. So that's how far you want this to travel. We're going to multiply it by a float. And this is going to be, promote to variable, the max use distance. So this value is going to be up to you. I'm going to put it to 220 because I've always used this, and you're going to see if you like it or not. You can set it up to how much you want later on. But let's use this value first. So now if you want to trigger later in your game or something, an event, to change that value, you're going to be able to because you just changed this into a variable. We're going to use this result and add it, vector plus vector, to this over here. And this is going to be the end result. So you're going to start off at the camera position, and then you're going to travel to the distance that you calculated over here and add it to the end. So now, on hit, when the line trace hit, you're going to break the hit result. You want it to hit an actor. The blueprint is considered an actor. And over here, we're going to do the message is on interact message. And that's simple. So when the line trace is going to hit something, it's going to fire off the event that we put on interact. This is the event. Now let's make sure we actually have a condition over here, or else it's always going to fire all the events. You want to make sure that it goes true, or true. If it's not true, it's always going to fire the on interact, and you don't want that. Compile and save. Now what are we missing? Because if I go out right now and I press, let's put this to 1, press play, it's still not going to work. And why is that? It's because I didn't set up any action key to it. What button am I supposed to press for the trace action, the trace item to happen? Let's go inside the event graph, and we created an input for interaction in the earlier videos. So if you click interaction, right click, interaction, over here, action events, This is the event that we trigger when we were pressing the E key to open the door. So you can use this to take the trace item and to call the function. So when you press the E key, this is going to fire, and it's going to check for this event to fire up and to open the door. So let's compile everything and try this over here. So if you didn't do it yet, I did it in this when I was testing everything over here. I put a blueprint over here of the door. If you don't remember how to do it, you grab the door. See, this is a static mesh. You right click and you place simple door over here. And it's going to change it to the blueprint. So now I'm going to use the left door for this tutorial, and I'm going to set it to 1 and compile, save. Now if I go inside the level, you're going to see this one here. I can't interact with it, and this one I can because it's the one with the trigger value. And this one here, well, actually, let's get out and let's do one more thing. In the line trace, I forgot to put a debug because I wanted you to see what it is. This is going to draw the line that you're testing. I'm going to put it for duration, and compile, save. What I wanted you to see is that red light that comes out of the camera to check where you can interact with something. You see over here, it's the door, but since the function is not here, it's not going to work. And here, it doesn't work. But if I trigger here, it's the trigger volume that does it. But then when I get to this door, hey, it works. The door opens, and when I hit it again, if I hit in the emptiness, it's not like there was a trigger volume that works. It doesn't work. It's looking for the door collision. So if I press on the door, only then is it going to work. And that's it. You just created your first line trace, first person style. I hope you enjoyed this, and in the next episode, we're going to work on a simple matinee sequence using a trigger volume. So tune in for the next episode. I hope you had fun, and good night.